Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Andrew Mercer.
Luis Hernandez.
And Jaime and Fuego here, and thank you so very much for joining us for a preliminary review of The Green Room, a highly anticipated, backwoods, band getting involved in a crazy fracas with some skinheads. We were blessed to see an early screening of this, guys, and it's got some Anton Yelchin in there, Mr. Odd Thomas, Patrick Stewart. Yeah, awesome cast.
Very, very regal.
Yes, indeed, and very calm and cool and calculated and frightening. This is it's like thriller mixed with some horror. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, it's definitely along the horror thriller train more than anything else, but it definitely I think falls into that horror genre. It's no less horror than The Purge or any sort of, just straight up violent movies like that where you're stuck in a situation where you have to kind of fight your way out, and Hostel's sort of another thing.
The Strangers, or even like a Vacancy, or all these different home invasion type movies as well. It was almost like a backwards version of that.
A little bit.
Yeah, so you basically have this punk band led by Mr. Odd Thomas, Charlie Bartlett, Anton Yelchin, awesome as always, and
amazing actor.
Yes, and they have this big time DIY aesthetic. They're like, we're so punk, we don't use social media, and we're all about just playing the show and leaving it out there on the stage. It's kind of cliched, at least as far as punk goes. I was a punk rocker for many years, so
was
I know
that cliched? Because I don't know. I'm not in the scene.
A little bit,
Okay. All right.
They're essentially trying to be like a early '80s Black Flag, short just bursts of songs, and just right for the jugular. But unfortunately, one thing with hardcore is that it does attract skinheads sometimes. We're talking like the steel toe boot wearing, green laces, like smash your face in for no good reason as opposed to help you in. Yeah, exactly. The guy who would kick you in the face in the pit as opposed to helping you up. Now, I'm not saying that every person's like that, but they really embrace that stereotype, man, in this. And so these guys are going to play this show, and things get pretty bad after they get off stage, right, Cecil?
Yeah, they basically are getting ushered out of the bar very quickly. All right, guys, time to go. We got to make room for the next band. And of course, there has to be some sort of plot device here. One of the band members has left their phone in the green room. So Anton Yelchin goes back in to grab it, and when he does, he sees something that he probably shouldn't see. There's been a little bit of death, a little bit of carnage, a little bit of stabby-wabby in the heady-weddy.
Stabby-wabby!
And they basically get pushed back into the green room, the entire band, along with all these miscreants that have had this episode while they were on stage to specific songs we find out later on. But while they're in there, they are not allowed to leave. And then we see the sort of guy that brought them into the bar making his moves outside of the green room, calling in the boss, i.e. Patrick Stewart.
And Darcy. Yeah, and obviously Lou can talk about him, man.
Patrick Stewart? Yeah, I like Darcy a lot. I like the, like they were saying, like the kids are trapped. Not even trapped, like he says, like, we're not keeping you here, you just can't leave.
You just can't leave.
Right.
A lot of gray area there.
It was basically like they're trying to figure out what do we do with these kids, call him Darcy, Patrick Stewart, and then he basically obviously has dealt with situations like this many a time. Like this guy knew exactly what he was doing. It wasn't even like planned. It was just like improvised, but he's like, yeah, this is gonna work. We have to do this.
That's a good way to put it. It's sort of like it's improvised organizational chaos.
And you never see him really lose his cool.
He never even breaks a sweat, man.
No, he's like this is someone that you're like, he's done this plenty of times in the past.
Well, there's even a great moment where they're talking through the door, and he's like talking loudly. He lowers his voice. He's like, "Can you hear me when I talk like this?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yes." And so he just prefers to be low key. And one of the things that I think that you might be driving at is that his character is so low key, but it adds to his menace.
Yeah, it's very scary. Someone this okay with doing what he's doing.
Scary to the characters in the film as well.
Yeah, just very okay to be like, this is how we're gonna handle it. Let's do it. Call this person. Let's use this. Let's get the dogs. It's
every
Jesus
step
Christ.
involved.
Yeah.
No, so Andrew, did you think that all the subordinates were as menacing, or were they a little one note, a little cliche? What did you think, man?
Yeah, I think a lot of them were cliche, but I like the ones that they kind of gave certain parts to. The gentleman that was in the room interacting with him, I thought that was he did a really good job because the tables turned so many times. There's really only a wall separating them, and the advantage is switched quite a few times. So he goes from, having the upper hand to being a prisoner to having the upper hand to being a prisoner.
A lot of ebb and flow, man.
Yeah. So, I kind of felt for the guy in there, but he's had better days. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but all those twists and turns kind of showed that I thought the script was very strong.
I thought the script was tight. Very, very tight. So much so that I was not bored for a second.
Neither.
It moved at a great clip. Like, they got in, and you're basically at the bar where everything takes place within the first 6 or 7 minutes of the movie.
You get a weird vibe right off the bat.
You do.
Like when they're pulling up and you just see those trucks parked.
Oh, yeah. Well, something's off. But these are, like you guys said, indie band trying to make it and taking the gigs where they can get them. Because they had just gotten fleeced out of a gig, so they had sort of no choice.
On their way there.
They're siphoning gas and stuff, exactly. So it was an extremely tightly told story. You're never wanting for anything interesting to happen because something interesting is sort of always happening. And not a lot of movies can make that claim. Yeah, so the script is really well done.
It was really self-contained, but yet still moved at a brisk pace, which was an interesting contrast. It's not. I mean, they're at this one place the entire time, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of what that's what I noticed with, once you kind of see who's pulling the strings, they really dictated the pace, not of just what was going on, but of the whole movie. When they wanted something to happen, it happened. When they wanted them to sit and wait, they sat and wait.
It's like a lot of every time they got out, they go back. It was something. It was like you never know who's gonna get theirs, who's gonna survive. It was kind of all over the place, but in a good way. Like you said, like you were saying about what Patrick Stewart, like organized chaos.
And at a very brisk pace.
Organized chaos at a brisk pace.
At a medium pace.
Well, here we go. That's a good segue then. Talking about Sir Pat Stew. Let's hit the acting, you guys, more specifically. Patrick Stewart obviously comes through with flying colors. You can't expect anything less than that from him. And he was cold. He was menacing. And then.
Scary though, dude.
And then things change, and he changes accordingly, and it's really. I thought it was a coup performance for him, but he wasn't the only one. Again, Anton Yelchin was great, but let's talk about some of the other people.
Imogen Poops.
There you go. Right.
I liked her a lot. I liked her character. I liked constantly how her face was always she always had a tear.
No, was she the blonde?
She was the
blonde. She was the blonde. Okay.
Yeah, so she was not in the band.
No,
because there were two main girls. It was her, and it was the other girl that was a brunette from Arrested Development, and my favorite movie of 2015, The Final Girls.
She was in that as well. You're right.
She was.
Yes. Loved her in that movie. Loved her in this movie.
Aaliyah Shawkat.
No, there you go. Perfect. Thank you very much.
No, I just I don't know. I just liked her whole demeanor, where it was she was very when they got the gun, shoot them.
Oh, she was ready to throw down.
Yeah, she's like, I know what they're doing.
She was of that culture though.
Yeah.
So she was like,
she was kind of like it's weird to say, but almost like Ripley to me. In a
That's
sense.
fair.
Like I don't see. You see a lot
Last
of
survivor of her crew,
and
the
you
final
see a
girl
lot
mentality.
you see a lot of movies where they want that strong female lead, but it's not done right with her. It's like you're just thrown into it. It's this is who she is. She gets it, and even she was emotional too, but never like oh, I can't do this.
Oh no, but by the end you don't want to cross her.
Yeah, especially in that line that she had when the movie.
She's tied into really the whole reason why they're stuck in the green room.
I mean,
she's really the first person that has
she saw what happened.
Exactly,
the closest connection.
Yeah, exactly. So she's kind of in it from the beginning. So when she says just shoot him, she's basically done the whole emotional arc and everything. She's done. She was done from the get-go. You can tell.
Well, let me give proper shout out to one of the henchmen that I thought did a really good job. Basically, as Patrick Stewart and the situation developed, they sort of empty the bar out of bystanders and band watchers. And it just comes down to Patrick Stewart's Red Lace crew. And basically, they're his thugs that are meant to wipe out the problem inside the bar.
It's not a party, it's a movement.
Right? Right. And one of his people, in fact, what seems to be one of his main lieutenants, is this guy that is their dogfighting trainer. He trains these vicious dogs to obviously fight each other, but they have a kill command. I mean, they're used to enforce.
I think it was a German word too. Wasn't it?
Fass.
The command.
Yeah. So this guy was actually a really good actor. Like he had this connection to the dogs. He had the loyalty to Patrick Stewart, and then they played on that at the end. There was a note at the end of the movie that sort of hammered it home without him even really doing anything. It just was a really complete story arc for just one of the henchmen, and you don't really see that much.
Despite being a minor one,
But that to me is what elevates a movie. Because normally they're faceless henchmen and you don't really give a crap. But this guy, I was like, oh wow, he has this connection, he cared about the animals.
They gave him like a depth that you didn't really notice. You're like, he's part of this group, they're doing this thing, but when you see him interact with the dogs and like even when the dog runs out and he's like, no, he's tired and all that, it's like wow, he has a heart. But yet he's this guy.
I just like that
he was the whisperer. He was like on point about it.
I just love that a movie that ends up being this violent has that kind of heart.
I'm not surprised about so much attention to detail with a minor character because there was little notes throughout that they were just really, really thorough about just little touches to add some just naturality and just more realness to not just the story but all the performances too.
There was no weak character, even though no matter how small their role was,
they all served a purpose.
They all served a purpose, like the two true believers.
It was like a puzzle.
Purpose.
Absolutely.
Every character had a purpose.
And in fact, we can use the true believers to segue into the effects because they led to some effect shots. I mean, there is a lot of violence in this movie, and it is a lot of in-your-face violence.
It's real.
It's of a real graphic nature.
Yes.
And the
real.
reason a concept like this scares me so much is because it is so based in reality. And when they showed the ugly just brutality of it firsthand, without any softening of the blow, it hits you, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
It hits you really well.
It was gory, but it wasn't gory the way like you would normally see. Like,
it wasn't gore for gore's sake.
Yeah, like there was like
excessive.
there was a real purpose. Like him pulling out the thing. Then we see blood.
Yeah.
And like her with the box cutter. It wasn't like in I think any other movie which would have been
shotgun.
And it would have stuck with it, but no, it was just the slice
you see layers of skin and meat, and then even like the hand
or the dog chewing on people's necks.
Yeah, it was like chew. Even the shotgun. It wasn't like just head.
No,
it was like
the shotgun to the face
weird,
was pretty gnarly.
You saw like the buckshots.
Yeah.
You saw the
individual
kind of,
indentations.
And like in a lot of the shots, they didn't like focus too long on the violence. They showed it, boom.
Yeah,
done.
the camera didn't linger when it didn't.
But it had.
No, it was just showing you like, result.
Yeah, but it was effective.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, also the violence had to move briskly to keep with that pace I was talking about. They're like, hey, people are dying left and right, but we don't have much time to even dwell and mourn them.
Well, briskly and I would say a lot of times unexpectedly. Like, you said that you were kind of expecting some things sometimes, but like that, the one we mentioned, I'm not going to mention which one because I don't want to ruin it, but one of them
we do have spoilers coming.
Was just out of the blue, and I was like, whoa! It's rare that a movie will sort of shock my system like that, and I'm like, holy wow, okay, I'm up again. I never was in danger of falling asleep, but it still is like, woo! It's that little adrenaline shot, and you're like, whoa, what? It throws you off, and it keeps you off balance, which is what's nice. That's one of the things I really genuinely loved about this movie. I really didn't know what it was going to do next, because while you might think because they're stuck in the green room it becomes a bunker movie, which I hate, as I've mentioned on this show before.
But
but they got in and out of the room so many times that it was not that. It was more home invasion-y and stuff like that. It was a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was. I didn't exactly like the fact that they kept going back, but every time they went, I mean, once you really look at it, every time they left the green room, something really bad.
Well, yeah, that's what made it seem real. That's why they went back. It's like they go out. Boom. Go back. Like, we've been saying, exactly.
Well, and also as far as effects go and just having like a solid effect on the making of the film, I think it was a great example of low budget filmmaking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, get one self-contained crazy area because it was obviously very intricately done with the stickers and spray paint and all this stuff. It really added ambiance and even more dread to everything about what they were experiencing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd be interested to find out what the budget on this movie was because
Jeremy.
They probably stretched it.
Yeah. Same guy who did Murder Party, which we did.
We did a review for early on in the show.
Yeah,
it was an excellent film, and then another one that you saw,
Blue Ruin, which I saw some of it. I want to finish it because like one of the like I was telling you earlier, the henchman, one of the henchmen, the main guy, he's the main character in Blue Ruin.
Gotcha.
He's amazing.
And that was the guy who was like the booking agent.
The guy
that walked them in and sort of told them, "Calm down, it's okay. I'm holding a gun in your face, but it's okay.
Don't worry, the cops are coming.
Stay here."
Yeah. But let's go ahead and move into one of the other things I wanted to talk about, which you guys would have a more unique insight on, which was the music of the film. What did you guys think of how all that played out?
You know, I felt real. It felt honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like an expert. I've gone to shows and all that, but I'm not like part of the scene. But I'm familiar with bands and the shows, and I don't know. I just felt like
Did it feel genuine?
It felt very genuine, and it felt like it wasn't like this is a movie about punk movement or music. It was like no, yeah. It was just like it's there. It felt real, and then we got the story. You know, it just felt real. This whole movie felt so honest.
I wonder if someone might allegorically compare the movie itself to a punk concert.
Possibly.
Like how, it goes
like the beats.
Rhythmic and frenetic.
Well, yeah,
rhythmic
really
and
fast
frenetic.
and abrasive too, and violent and fraught with emotion and brutal. Yeah, exactly. Their band in the movie was really trying to be an early 80s hardcore band, the girl's wearing a DK shirt, he's wearing a Minor Threat shirt, one of my favorite DC punk bands, from way back in those early straight edge hardcore days and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, it seemed genuine, it seemed cool. I guess Yelchin and the director, they both have punk rock roots from what they were mentioning in a recent interview that I was reading. And so Jeremy Saulnier, written and directed, just like Murder Party and Blue Ruin. Yeah. So I think he's going to be a force to be be reckoned with, because this is getting a wider release. It deserves that kind of attention.
For
it's
sure.
Unique, and
this showing was
it's
sold
like
out.
No movie story-wise, I've never seen this concept before, and in an age where tired concept after regurgitated concept comes out, to see a truly unique novel approach to certain themes we've seen before, I think it succeeded like through and through. It was graphic and left an impression on me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other final thoughts, gentlemen? We just kind of heard Fuego's. I totally agree with him. It was a movie that moved at a great pace with punch and the gore effects, which this gore fan loved to no end. So, what about you guys?
I'd say I'd follow that up. From start to finish, the first time that you really, they really throw something at you, you're interested. You're constantly, I don't want to say wanting more, but the brisk pace of it. You're just kind of like, okay, let's get to it. You get the fix, and then it's, okay, now I see what's going on. Let's get to the next one. But by the end of it, it's awesome.
You catch the rhythm of it all, man.
No, like I was saying, I just felt like it just felt honest.
Yeah.
It felt, like A24, the people that put it out. Lately, I've been watching a lot of their movies, and a lot of their films just feel honest.
Yeah.
Which is like, and it's hard to explain what that means, but it's just like, I think in an age of with all these like superhero movies and all that, things being remade, it's kind of nice to watch a movie. You're like, that's a very interesting concept. Taking those worlds and then this genre and then throwing it all together and doing it in a very, like you said, like almost art house, independent sense.
I honestly feel like they take a real personal touch to it. Which is why you relate to it so well. Some of these, once again, very self-contained, small situation, but you felt like you were there along for every breathless step of the fight. So
it was awesome, guys.
It was intense too, so be forewarned. You better be prepared, man.
Absolutely. But do yourself a favor and go check out The Green Room, starring Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart. Sir Patrick Stewart?
Sir
Patrick Stewart!
Proper credit. So thanks again for watching, you guys. I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Andrew Mercer.
Luis Hernandez.
Gracias, I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And until next time, remember,
stay scared!